Hi, everyone. Harry here with another dispatch on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He is on two tracks, as you know. So there it was on the one hand, the deportation effort and the immigration track, where the administration just screwed up, sent him to El Salvador against a judicial order, and ever since then has been pulling out all stops to make his life miserable, and now the plans are to deport him to Liberia. They were forced to bring him to the States to give him due process, but now they want to say we'll send him to Liberia, even though that's a country he doesn't want to go to, a very primitive country and a dangerous one, and relative especially to Costa Rica, where he says you can send me tomorrow. In the meantime, when the finally relented after saying for months he will never again return to American soil, and again, the reason he was off American soil is the administration screwed up and sent him by mistake. It took them a long time to admit it, and then they just dug their heels in the sand. Finally, courts forced him to come back, but the administration did this clever, nasty maneuver of charging him with crimes in the United States. The crimes are a 2-count indictment for supposedly transporting migrants in the United States. When you look close at it, it really looked very threadbare. It was just a way of sort of bulking up what had been a traffic stop where the Tennessee police stopped and found a lot of people in his car. He said he was transporting them to work. They let him go, but now the administration brings charges saying he's transporting migrants, and they've secured the cooperation of the guy who supposedly runs the whole service, who now has this sudden opportunity to totally reduce his sentence and was ready to and testify against Abrago Garcia. Anyway, when you look closely at this criminal complaint, it didn't really seem to add up to a lot, and the prospects for losing it were distinct. I mean, you had these really, bellicose and kind of chest-thumping statements from the White House saying, we're bringing him here to face American justice for these egregious charges. He will do that, and then we will deport him right away, etc. So we're on that track. I've done another explanation today about what's happening there. But on the criminal track, the judge who is overseeing it totally took to task the administration for its just ongoing diatribe and vitriolic campaign against Abrago Garcia. This is both Attorney General Bondi and Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem. The administration can't figure out or coordinate that it's, on the one hand, in this immigration track. On another, they've charged him with serious criminal offenses that they can really prejudice the case if they do as they're doing, be out there. And so Noem declared he is an MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, and domestic abuser and child predator. One of the people in the car was a minor. So think about this in the context of the actual criminal charges against Abrego, and what it would do to a potential jury member. It's flagrantly improper. Bondi as well, the Attorney General of the United States, she said he played a significant role in an alien smuggle ring. This was his full-time job. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips. That's not in the indictment. They couldn't put it in the indictment. What they have in the indictment is much more bare bones, and even that is tenuous. But so coming out with all these unsubstantiated allegations that totally dirty him up, and this is after the Judge Crenshaw, presiding over the criminal charges, had put in a court order saying that you can't opine on evidence in the case, and if you did, it could result in sanctions. So now they've gone and done it again out of some combination of just, well, I don't want to speculate out of some combination, but there's certainly a big helping, because it always figures in, of just animus toward Abrego, and which they take like in sort of personal terms and bring a bazooka against an insect, just wanting to train the entire firepower of the U.S. on this guy who had the misfortune of being illegally shipped off to El Salvador, and thereby coming to the attention of the American press and America. So he takes them to task again, and requires the attorneys handling the case to report on the steps they're taking to make sure that the officials know about the rule. I think there's, some effort to say, well, we're sorry, Your Honor, but it's hard to coordinate with DHS that handles the immigration side. That's not a very effective argument to a federal court overseeing a criminal case. And so he orders them to give him reports about what they're doing to make sure that DOJ and DHS officials were complying. After, in his mind, he said they had sidestepped his directive. Okay, so that's, obviously they're acting improperly, trying to dirty him up, inexhaustible sort of vindictiveness toward Abrego. And then in a related development, the judge said he wanted to see various internal government communications related to the case. Abrego wants to bring a vindictive prosecution motion, and he wants to get Todd Blanche to testify. And, normally that would be a quixotic motion with no hope of succeeding, except the evidence seems pretty clear that this has gone up to the very top. This is in March what Emile Beauvais, who's now been rewarded with a lifetime appointment to the Court of Appeals, was handling and overseeing. And you see the White House statements, et cetera. This has gone to the very top because they've made it a kind of flashpoint political issue. So the administration is fighting that. They want to quash the subpoena of the Deputy Attorney General and two of his advisors. And here's what I think is the writing on the wall. They're getting their heads handed to them justifiably in this criminal case. They are acting improperly. They've been warned more than once, and there are these improper comments. And there is, I think, a real selective prosecution claim that he can bring. Again, it's rare, but this administration is, doing everything to choose targets for political reasons, and it goes to the very top. So they're looking at A, losing, and B, getting really embarrassed in this case, including the Deputy Attorney General having to take the stand and testify. So now, after having said again and again he's going to face criminal justice, etc., I think they are backpedaling and saying we need to avoid what's been a total series of embarrassments and black eyes. At the same time, we can still talk tough and make good on our promise that Abrego will never be free in America again. They can't do that as long as there are charges pending. I think you're looking at they're trying now to do a two-step where they come in and dismiss the charges against him. That won't necessarily be easy, and they'll get questioned, I think, sharply by the criminal court judge overseeing it. But at the end of the day, it's basically impossible to prevent the United States from dismissing charges and then put him on the fastest track they can, and probably to Liberia, even though he would go to Costa Rica, even though Liberia hasn't said they won't just send him back to El Salvador, where his life is guaranteed to be a hellhole. And this is just the lengths that the U.S. government will go to try to make this one guy's life miserable because they sent him down illegally. It's become a cause célèbre. And from Trump on down, there's an insistence that they give him the harshest treatment possible and be able to show how punitive and tough they are on the immigration side. So I think we're looking at them potentially cutting their losses, but in a way, just as they did when they brought him back, but surprise, surprise, made him face criminal charges. Now that those are unraveling in front of their eyes, watch and see if they don't try to get rid of those in order to send him out of the country right away, and specifically to a nasty place that he doesn't want to go to again, follow through on the monomaniacal focus of the administration to make this one guy's life miserable. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.